Hello, my name is Kayla Coyne, and I am an English content area major. Um, so I've done a lot of thinking about something that I think needs to be discussed, and it's not something flashy like similes or figurative language, or I'm looking at some of my cohorts like Johnny's did code switching, which is wonderful. But I'm going to talk about something a little bit more structured that everyone knows how to do, and that honestly becomes arbitrary. So I'm going to be talking about writing essays because that's what we do in the English content area. We write essays. In school, so whenever you're looking, also I'm sorry if the sound fluctuates, my camera is kind of weird. In K through 12, or whatever grade we actually start learning how to write essays, as far as I can remember back in my personal experience, it was as young as second grade. We are taught, you have a question and you answer it. And then it becomes more developed to, oh, you have this starting paragraph, your introduction, and then you have 4 other paragraphs. So you have your body, and then your conclusion. And then in public school, at least in South Carolina, you learn that, and this is more in high school, okay? You have your introduction, you have your thesis, 3 paragraphs. Conclusion, and what do you do in the conclusion? You restate everything that you've learned. So, getting into college and me being in college for so long, it has enlightened me, I want to say, and that the way that we have been taught to write, period, is not writing in higher level education. And what I mean is, if you were to write an essay the same way that you would as if you were in middle or high school, and do that in a college class, I don't think it would work very well. And the reason I think is because we are expected to meet certain criteria. With more grades comes the ability to push yourself further and to retain more information. And so, while in second grade we're writing about why are tomatoes red, or are tomatoes fruits, which yes they are. That's basic entry level. And then when you get to middle school, more so high school, you start learning basic research. And I say basic because thankfully we have Coastal's library and internet sources to use, and because of theoretical classes that I've taken and higher advanced level classes that I've taken here at Coastal, I know how to critically find sources. I'm just so used to doing it for English. Being in an education content area now, it's different for me because there's different databases that you need access to. But anyway, you expand on what concepts you've learned already, or things that you've been exposed to. And this is something that the arbitrary of form of how we've come to write is something that really irritated me, because I want to be the kind of teacher, and I assume everybody wants this, but it's just me. I want to be the kind of teacher where I can prepare my students for a life that I know they will experience and feel okay in me being and be confident that I have prepared them well. And I remember asking a particular professor about why we don't teach college understanding of writing and how to write essays while they're in later years of high school. You know, why can't we experiment with different forms of writing? We experiment with poetry, we experiment with different activities regarding writing. I've done 2 lesson plans already, like the rest of you, and I've included so many different activities that I did not think I had the creativity for. Um, so why can't we experiment with academic writing? Why are we sticking to the 5 paragraph cookie cutter framework when that's not how you write an academic essay? I'm not I don't want to be an English teacher because I like to read or because I like to write, because I don't. And I'm going to get burned at the stake for saying that. But I have not sat down to actually physically read a good book in probably 7 or 8 years. And I do not enjoy writing. I'm going to be an English teacher because I was good at English. I was good at daily grammar practice. I was good at vocab tests. I was good at writing essays. At least I thought I was. And then when I came to Coastal, my whole understanding of essays was shattered. I did not know what to do. Nobody had taught me about the complexities between M and N dashes. Nobody had taught me about colons and semicolons. Nobody had taught me about different phrases or how you word with prepositions. People can say that they learned it. I don't remember learning that. I do not remember learning about it. And I felt like I was a lackluster student. And my biggest fear is it took a lot for me to get to where I am now. And when I say burnout is heavy, because I've never taken a break from college. My biggest fear is that when my students go to college, that they are going to fall into a rut and they're going to feel the same way I did. And yes, I can't help how they feel. But at the end of the day, I think as educators, our main role is to prepare students for whatever journey they want to embark on. And writing is a skill critical to everyone. It's not just for us English majors, it's something that everybody has to know how to do. And whenever you're trying to write essays to get into college for different professors who have different wants and needs and want you to write in different ways, which is the biggest pain. And when you're writing for a professional career, these are things that you need to know. My ego has been humbled many a times by professors, and I'm grateful for it because I was able to learn new methods of writing, figuring out my own style. For example, I am a heavy user of dashes when I'm writing in academics. I don't really use parentheses, it's just a personal choice, but I love using dashes. And I remember in a recent class, I got torn up on every essay because apparently I wasn't using them correctly. And I didn't know. And I'm like, really? All those papers I wrote? Nobody said anything to me? It's little things like that. And I think, if this video does anything, instead of trying, I think we can not only meet state standards and teach them well, I think we also need to nitpick and be nitty gritty with some of the standards we're choosing to teach. And really experimenting with different forms. I think being a teacher, like I said, the past 2 lesson plans have made me more creative. It's been really difficult for me to actually visualize what I could do for my students. And I'm looking back on the experiences I had as a student, and everybody's got their own experiences. But I think that from what I was taught, and from what I remember, and from what I felt I was lacking, I think experimenting with different forms of academic writing is necessary, because they're going to get eaten alive in college. And we're supposed to prepare them for college, right? So that's my video. It's more of a rant, but I do think that experimenting with different forms of academic writing is necessary, and not to necessarily replace the 5-paragraph cookie cutter mold, but just so they get experience, because experience goes a long way.